Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. Happy January. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for coming back. For those of you who are new, thank you so much. I hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear. A lot of exciting energy this month. I seem to be getting information that goes a little bit further. So I often talk about February and March. So do listen to these, come back to these when you can. As always, my intention is to give you information that will ultimately help you evolve and grow, that will help you feel empowered, that will help you feel love towards yourself, that will help you feel appreciation for who you are, which is an amazing, amazing divine being. Whatever you take out of this, please always know that it may not make sense to you right away. It makes sense to you later. Some things may hit you right away. Some things may not hit you until 2 weeks from now or a month from now. So do listen to this with an open heart and an open mind. Also, for any private sessions, of course, which I always love to do, that information is down below. Also, the 2019 6-month messages are up and running. I have also included that information for you down below, so make sure you go ahead and check it. And above all, I want to thank you again for coming back. I feel this is an exciting year for all of us. So stay tuned. I hope you like these. Of course, please comment. I always love reading your comments. Thank you again so much for sharing, subscribing, liking. I love each and every one of your energy. You contribute to what I do. So without further ado, Happy New Year once again. Let's start with your messages. Hello, beautiful Pisces. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Joanna. Let's move on. Let's go on with your messages for January 2019. I have to be honest with you. There are so many emotions that I feel for you. Mostly one of excitement, because I feel like majority of you who are listening to this or who will listen to this feel like you're about to burst out of your shells. It is there's a feeling of finality in order for something to be birthed into life. Whether you call it transition, the tower moment, whatever it is, it represents this. It makes me feel like there's this great energy built up that is about to be freed from you and into the world. So right away, I'm feeling that many of you are in a process of coming out of hiding, whether you are hiding in a closet, whether you are hiding your gifts, whether you are hiding your face from being seen, whether you're in isolation, whether you hide your beliefs, whatever it is that you hide for whatever reason, you are getting to the point where you are maturing fast and you're mature enough to be able to handle the criticism, should any come your way, for accepting the person that you really are. Some of you, this literally means you are walking out of your current environment and you're saying, I'm done with this, I'm becoming a monk. Okay, clearly not all of you, please go jump, be monks, because we need you. Not that monks aren't important, totally, obviously that's a sense of humor, but it represents drastic change and drastic shift in one's foundation. Foundation is clearly belief system, but foundation is our home. Foundation is our family. Foundation is how we earn a living. It's our jobs. It's our relationships. And many of you either already are undergoing, have just undergone, or will about to undergo significant changes in your life in terms of transitions. Now, I want to say this very emphatically. This is a good thing. Many of you have been waiting for this opportunity for a very, very long time, and perhaps you have not felt ready before, but now you are feeling more than ever ready to start fresh and start new. Many of you will feel this almost as this release of something that has had a hold on you. Some of you have undergone the proverbial death death, where you have gone through a significant transition, which may be for some of you a loss of some sort, perhaps loss of someone you have loved, but this is past, it's not future. And that has spurred, almost like ignited something in you that began to change things from inside out. So I want to stress this for most of you. This is what it feels like to me. And the word that comes with it is freedom. Another thing that I got when I was meditating on you was the idea of a cosmic egg. So cosmic egg is one of the cards that I have, and it was shown to me. So I actually looked it up because I don't know all the meanings. And lo and behold, it is a symbol for self-realization. So we self-realize when we culminate a cycle of self-fragmentation. Basically, what this means in English to me is that whatever fragmented self you have been working on. What does that mean, fragmented self? Well, for example, when we hide ourselves, where we're in hiding, we are fragmented because we are not owning whatever that is and show up in the world. We separate ourselves and we just become discombobulated. The point is that the cosmic egg is a significant symbol that says, many of you who are hearing this and who will hear this are undergoing such significant changes that the idea of self-realization is becoming open to you. So as I'm saying self-realization, I'm saying to my team, what does that really mean? And I'm going to listen for the answer. What that means for most of you, which is you and I, us, all of us, is that we come to a point within ourselves that we begin to believe and see things from the perspective of oneness. We no longer practice idea of separation. We practice the idea of unity. And this will mean different things to different people. I will not over-explain this because some of you'll get it right away, and some of you'll go, I don't know what that means, and 2 weeks later you'll hear something and it'll be a similar message. So unification is the word here. In order to get to the point of feeling self-realized, at least in this physical body to some extent, you had to have undergone some really difficult situations, because difficult situations often shake us to the core, and it is often our core that needs shifting. I always say when things are in our face, it's very difficult to ignore them. Chances are, if you've been putting something aside and didn't want to deal with it, you either already started to deal with it, or you will not be able to put aside any longer. You'll have to face the facts. So this is fantastic. The other image I got for you was an image of a crocodile. So I haven't looked up what the meaning is. I would invite you to do that. Look up the meaning of a crocodile as an animal totem. However, what I got from it is save your energy or reserve your energy. So in a month of in a month of January, do not be so hasty into any sort of quick movements. In other words, don't rush into anything just yet. Again, just like for some other signs, March is coming up, but also the month of May. March, okay, you guys have birthdays in March. So that will be interesting because that means that many of you will complete an actual yearly cycle. And by the time end of March is over, you will be feeling brand new or like you again. So when I say you again, it also tells me that many of you have lost yourself in the process of whatever that was, and you are now in the process of reintegrating yourself back into you and claiming yourself as a whole person. Any sort of rejection or self-rejection, any form of self-analysis that renders you not good enough, any sort of behaviors that are stemming from a lack belief system. I feel many of you will be looking at that if you haven't already, and you will be actively choosing and pursuing to do things in a different way in order to shift and change your frame of mind. And as we know, frame of mind is what we think with. In other words, our frame of mind dictates our emotions. Our emotions is what brings our experiences. So if we are in a negative frame of mind, we will experience, negative experiences. So looks like a lot of you are doing this, which is interesting because I get it really, it's very potent how I feel it with Pisces, with you guys. And I'm sure this is going to affect other people, but for some reason, some of you need to hear this. Okay, this is going to be really weird. I smell fish. I don't know why I smell fish. Nobody's cooking here. But I'm supposed to say this to you. If you are someone who has gone fishing with your parents, or you like fishing and haven't done this in a while, you like fly fishing, or you like fishing, I don't know, fishing, there's something about fishing. Maybe it's something you did as a boy with your dad, or as a little girl with your dad or mom. There's some kind of an activity around fishing, but I feel I'm getting this from someone who's passed. So if you have a loved one who you connect with fishing, or someone who loved fish, or absolutely hated fish, it's either one or the other, chances are this person is poking here and saying hello. For some of you, it's going to relate to a mother. And I actually do have a message for some of you regarding a mother. So let's move on. The first card represents what you are leaving behind. I love this. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you will. 7 of Wands is coming up. For those of you who listen to me on a regular basis, you know that I don't read cards. I'm not a tarot reader, so I'm going to give you what I think this card means, but then I'll actually give you the message that I get. So standing up for yourself is something that is coming up here. And I feel like many of you have been dealing with a situation in your life where you had to defend yourself on a regular basis, whether it is you were defended your beliefs, whether you defended your rights, whether you were always fighting with somebody. This could represent a home situation. It could equally represent a work situation and everything in between. However, it is shown that you are leaving this. So if you are currently in an environment where you are constantly fighting, where you're constantly trying to prove a point, or you're constantly trying to convince somebody of something, I feel you are slowly letting it go. Whether it is because you let go of trying, because what's the point, or you are leaving the situation behind, it is a good card to have, particularly in an energy that's leaving. Now, this could be you leaving a spouse that's abusive, or leaving a situation where you always have to defend yourself. Perhaps you are somewhere where you're being treated unfairly and you constantly have to be added. I feel most of you who are listening to this, eventually, certainly by the middle of this year, 2019, majority of you will have left whatever the situation is for you. What might you be expecting in January? Good cards. We have 9 of Wands and 4 of Coins. So this is a message, 9 of Wands, of resilience, of keep pushing forward, have a little break, keep pushing forward. What it also tells me is January is not you're not at your destination yet. You're not at your destination. You're still moving towards some destination. You are somewhere in between. And I can tell it's been very hard, not only from this card, but also from speaking with many of you, Pisces. You've been in transitions. There's no question about it. And if January feels particularly, I want to say the word just persevere. You've got a little bit more to go. 9 is almost at the end of a cycle. Not quite, but almost. Because the Four of Coins is showing up, it tells me that it has to do with your stability. So this is going to be around home. For some of you, it's going to be around finances. For some of you, it's going to be a health situation, because this is general. But please keep on moving and persevere. Again, the end of March is being marked as a brand new beginning. I'm being shown the symbolic Ace of Cups. And to me, it's a renewal. It's arriving at a point where finally you can breathe. So keep on moving forward with whatever this is, even if it feels a little bit tricky in January. Remember, you're moving on. Your energy is fantastic. What might be hindering you? The equal value philosophy is a message that talks to me about you and how you assess your own value in terms of how you see yourself come next to others. In other words, how valuable do you believe you are? Do you hold other people higher than you? Do you hold yourself higher than other people? There seems to be this inequality around value. For most of you, I believe this is about how you feel about yourself in terms of, let's call it plain self-worth. Perhaps it is why you have been struggling in always trying to defend yourself. The one thing I found personally in working with clients over many years and with therapy is that the more we feel sure of ourselves, the more we feel the need to defend ourselves. Because we simply come to a point that once you tell a person something and they're not getting it, the second time you try and it still doesn't get it, you eventually come to a point where you say, what's the point? The more we try to defend ourselves, the more there is a clue that something within us is missing. So we're trying to not only convince other people, but we're trying to convince ourselves. So what I want to say here is, for those of you who understand this, notice how you feel about yourself first. Again, self-realization doesn't come out of you having been sitting idle. You have gone through a lot of relationship stuff and a lot of difficult moments in the last year and year and a half for many of you. And for most of you, you have come out mostly unscathed. For some of you, it was difficult. What may hinder you still, unknowingly, is the level of self-rejection you have towards yourself. Now, self-realization is a culmination of, it's what I said earlier. Self-realization begins with acceptance. It's reintegrating back into one whole being. Rejection does the opposite. So I want to ask those of you who will listen, notice how you classify yourself to you and others. What do you believe you are in terms of worth? What do you believe you offer to the world? What do you believe your offer is worth to the world? Just examine your beliefs in terms of how you feel about yourself. And notice if the level of your inequality next to others is what has been causing most of your pain. When we feel less than, we have a tendency for one to be perfect, because there is this aspect of us that said, unless we're perfect, we're not going to be loved, we're not going to be cared for, we're not going to be all the things that we need in order to thrive, not just to survive. Also, if your value system about you is not very high, chances are you will attract things correspondingly into your life, including relationships that are not on equal footing. So I would ask you to look at this within yourself, and the simplest way to assess your value system is to look at the repeating patterns in terms of how you feel and notice how these repeating patterns, where they stem from, what belief they stem from within you. Acknowledging a pattern is a sure way of helping you understand what your deep subconscious belief system is. And many of you have some work to do around your own value system. Okay? Now, what is working for you? Wishing well is coming up in reverse, but all that means to me is that I do want to say time is on your side. I want to say this. That's why I feel the message is don't rush into anything too quickly in the month of January. You have plenty of opportunities to make a change. Pay attention to your routine. Something about your routine. You need to maintain your routine, whatever your routine is. So the message with this is don't rush into anything too quickly. Again, because I feel for many of you time is on your side. Obviously, if you need to make a decision and it's a life-death decision or something of that nature, obviously this message won't apply to you, but that's not going to be for majority of you. Majority of you will understand that whatever it is that you're dealing with, chances are if you are too hasty in any choice or decision, you are more likely to fall back into your old patterns, and you do not want to do that. The crocodile message is also being shown to me once again, and that is about reserving your energy. So month of January, consider it a bit of a status quo month. Again, if you have to make choices or decisions because, well, you have to, that's a different story. At least if that is the case for you, consult with someone you trust, someone who will be able to give you unbiased opinion, unbiased word, asking a family member who is invested emotionally in whatever you're going through may not be a best idea because their involvement emotionally does not allow them to be unbiased. So that is what I would like to say to you. Is there anything else that I need to say? Yes, okay. So you have the devil coming up, and the devil to me symbolizes attachments. Now remember I said you are almost at the end of a cycle. You're almost at the completion, but not quite. Don't be surprised if there is an opportunity for you to detach yourself from something in the month of January in particular, but also in February, that had you scratching your head for quite some time. So if you had any addictions, if you have been stuck somewhere, if something has had a hold on you for quite some time, including a belief system, chances are that in the month of January and the month of February, something may transpire in your life to help you face that. Now remember, one of the things you're dealing with is your value system not being on par. And when we have these little buggers in our background or attachments, oftentimes it stems from us not having enough value within ourselves. I feel like I could go on with this, but I'm going to just move on. Initiation, yes, another message. So that's what I want to say. Don't be afraid of the devil card. The devil card simply says, I'm showing up to show you what's keeping you stuck. You'll have a choice to either deal with me or push me aside. Well, you'll deal with it later. So if you have an opportunity to face something in January or February, please do so. Because again, you are moving into more of a self-realization. And in order to be self-realized, we have to let go of certain attachments. Okay? Now, I'm being drawn to the fire here. I want to say to some of you who know what I'm talking about, I'm being shown a fire ceremony. For some of you, you may want to write out the things you would like to part with or behaviors you like to part with. Write them down on paper and during some kind of ritual and ceremony, burn that paper with whatever is on your paper. I'm also being shown doing this during full moon. So this, I'm just purely getting this information for some of you. It feels very shamanic to me. So some of you may be interested in some shamanic journeys or some shamanic rituals. But if you are stuck, having difficulty, have been dealing with something difficult, use fire to burn that old energy and transform it to something different. And for some of you, it's through a ritual. So I actually never got that message before. That's pretty cool and pretty interesting. So if that's something that you do, I would love to see your comment. I love that kind of stuff. And last but not least, Pachamama, which is another card that comes up in reverse. So this is a message of inspiration. I feel many of you have some unfinished business around a mother figure. This could be, and I'm actually hearing mother tongue. This could be some associations to another country, which is your motherland or was your motherland, or actually to a mother. And whatever that is, I feel it is quite painful. And I feel many of you have succumbed to this pain for quite a while. And there's a message that is wanting you to release this. Some of you, I feel like I'm walking around with handcuffs behind, and my arms behind my back and with handcuffs, which means I'm not free to do whatever I want. So this will hit some of you really right away, and some of you will not know what I mean. Some of you, it's not meant for you, but there is some sort of unfinished business with a mother or a mother figure. You may have a mother who's no longer with us, and perhaps a loss of your mother is what started your journey into self-realization. It's what planted the seed. For some of you, it is some sort of forgiveness, whether forgiving her, there's an area around forgiveness with a mother. For others of you, it's a little different message. It's paying attention to Mother Earth and noticing how Mother Earth nourishes you, but perhaps how you don't give thanks for or appreciation for that. So that's a completely different message. If that's the case for you, zero judgment on my part. You know what? I'm just going to leave it. Whatever that message is for you, just kind of think about it, okay? For others of you is a need for grounding. If you are into crystals or rocks, any kinds of things like that, perhaps you're drawn to a crystal. Notice if there is any crystal or stone that you can carry with you, particularly in January and February, that is very grounding. Black tourmaline is always the one that comes up for me. If you're in a warm climate, and if you can walk bare feet on the ground, that would be extremely grounding. So obviously don't do that if you're in sub-freezing temperatures. Connection to nature in general. Use nature to help you heal. This could be as simple as you walking out in the park and having discussion in your mind with the birds and the trees. Whatever you want. There's a need for connecting with Mother Nature, and I feel many of you have been indoors for far too long. Well, if you live in the northern hemisphere, is that how it goes? It's winter, so you may not be outside a whole lot. But if you can, on a sunny day or a dry day, that would be really good for you. And last but not least, this is a time for many of you where you will be consciously releasing yourself from your past attachments. These are attachments that often define you and define who you will be in the future. So if one of your attachment is, I do not have enough in me in order to get what I want, you have to deal with that belief. And we are attached to beliefs. We're attached to many things, and many things that we are attached to are really good. It is the things that are wonky or funky that we want to detach ourselves from. But also, it's not to resist detaching. And well, we resist for various reasons. Usually it's because we don't want to let things go because it's comfortable, it's familiar. So if some of you are resisting letting go of something that is clearly not working out in your favor, it's time to reassess why you're so attached. Again, you're moving on from fight. Okay? So that is what I want to leave with you. I hope this was helpful. If this does not make sense to you at the beginning of January, please listen to it even middle of February, or actually by the end of March. These messages are very fluid, so they will make sense to you in various times. Of course, other signs may offer you more clarity. If this does connect with you, I would love to read your comment. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and for visiting my channel once again. I wish you best of luck. Always remember you are important. Okay? I felt I needed to say this. And of course, for private session, that information is below. If you would like to continue seeing what's coming up further ahead, the 2019 Vimeos are also posted. That information is down below. Thank you so much once again. I wish you best of luck and see you soon. Bye.